Come on, Dave. Number 6. Come on, Dave. Watching the movies. Come on, Dave.
I mean, you botched it. This is episode 7.
Oh. Come on, Dave. Episode 7. Should have watched these a long time ago.
I don't know how you feel about the James Bond franchise, but I love it.
I really like James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have not seen nearly all of the old ones.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I've got a few years on you. I'm, 6 years older than you? And when I was a kid, they played just marathons of James Bond on TBS, the Superstation. And they would do it like, I don't know, twice a year, I think. They would have their James Bond marathon. And I just caught one night. And having seen a couple of them already, I just caught one of the old, like, Sean Connery ones, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
And so every time they would come on, TBS would have their marathons, it was like Shark Week for me, man. I was into it. It's like, I know what I'm doing next week. I'm watching James Bond.
You were?
Middle school, high school,
okay.
I don't know, something like that.
Right. I mean, I remember my dad really loving James Bond movies. Yeah.
So I have seen them all.
I really got on board when Pierce Brosnan took over.
Yep. Yeah, because
I mean, GoldenEye was so huge.
Yeah, and what was the hell was the show he was in that was super popular in the 80s?
Oh yeah, what was that show? I want to say it's like Diamond or no,
that's what I was thinking too. Like, so he was in. So of course Bond, Remington Steele.
Oh yeah.
That's it. And I used to love Remington Steele as a little kid. I was like, oh, this is so cool. He's like the coolest guy. And then when he was cast as James Bond, everybody was like, well, of course Remington Steele's going to be James Bond. That just makes sense. And apparently I think he was first offered it before Timothy Dalton, but I think there was either
too
like
busy with Remington Steele.
It might have been something like that, or he felt like he wasn't ready for it yet or something, so they went with Timothy Dalton, and then they came back to him after Dalton quit.
So I thought Dalton was only in one Bond movie.
He's in 2.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in.
That's what my dad was telling me, that he was in 2.
Yeah, he was in License to Kill and The Living Daylights.
Never seen either of those.
They're not great.
No.
They're not great. He's not a great Bond. He's maybe my least favorite.
He's in Hot Fuzz. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, he's great.
He's great in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, he's been great in like everything he's done since then. But he's not my favorite Bond.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're a fan of the Bond franchise.
Yeah.
Haven't watched a lot of the old school ones. Like, how many Connery ones do you think you've seen, other than Goldfinger now?
I think I've only seen Dr. No.
Oh wow, the first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I read Dr. No, and I read From Russia with Love.
That's a good one too.
And I watched Dr. No, and I never watched From Russia with Love.
Right.
But the books are like, Dr. No is kind of like a cliffhanger, and From Russia with Love like picks up from there.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to watch the movies.
Yeah. Is the book any good?
I mean, it's a James Bond book. Have you read any of them?
No, I really should I should seek out like the old paperback
Yeah,
copies.
if you like the hard case crime
ones,
like
hell
that's
yeah,
they're good.
What am I thinking? What am I doing? God damn.
Wasting your time.
So let's get to Goldfinger. Goldfinger, Dave, I'll just set the table here. It is my favorite of all the Bond movies. It is my favorite theme song of all the Bond movies.
Theme.
And might be my favorite theme song in any movie. Goldfinger, wow, wow, wow. He's the man with the Midas touch.
Billie Eilish won the Oscar for this
I know.
Bond song. Except for that Bond song came out like 4 years ago. At this point, I feel like
I know. Quick aside.
Yeah.
I went
to talk about the slap.
I went to Europe.
Yeah.
Like on a college trip. I was in Europe for a month. Before I left, my roommate, because one of the places in Europe I went to was Prague. And he was like,
I do really want to go there.
He's like, if you're going to Prague, you need to go to Goldfingers. And I was like, Goldfingers, what's that? And he's like, trust me, you want to go to Goldfingers. It's downtown Prague, like on the main street. Like, all right, turns out Goldfingers was a strip joint.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah. And
Are the ladies all painted in gold?
No. But so Craig was on this trip with me, and then he and I and two people that we that were on the trip with us, we asked them if they wanted to go, and they're like, well, shit, yeah, you know. So we went to Goldfingers, and it is not just a strip joint. It is like high end. We're four poor, stupid American college kids, and we walk in, and we're like, it's like marble floors, chandeliers, this whole deal. And
wow.
And it had like a start time. So the show or whatever started at, I don't know, let's say 8:00. So we sit down, get our tables, or our table, and there's like a menu on the table for, you know, what you can get, Dave. And
wow.
And we were just like, huh. And then so the stage is like what you'd imagine, you know, it has this, you know, the stage with the red velvet curtain, and then the stage kind of comes out, you know, into the audience.
Yeah.
And the lights go down, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 wah, 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 and fucking they play the Goldfinger song, and it's cranked. It's so loud your ears hurt. And then just girls come out topless, and you're like, all right then. So anyway, that's my little aside. If you're ever in Prague, head over to Goldfingers.
Yeah. Something tells me we're not going to do that.
Yeah. Take the kids. So anyway, Goldfinger, you know, the movie is about, I mean, who cares, right? It's a James Bond movie.
So I do, because it is about like Goldfinger, and a portion of it is all about like real estate stuff, right?
Yeah. And he's obsessed with gold.
Yeah.
He has, at the very beginning of the movie, or near the beginning of the movie, he has one of his ladies killed because she's been consorting with Bond, and he kills her by painting her completely gold, so she suffocates, her skin suffocates. That's weird. This is one of
super dark. She looks so peaceful lying in that bed too.
I know
that was not peaceful.
This is another one of those movies where the villain plans this elaborate death for James Bond, and then just leaves to let the death happen. It's the laser coming up between the legs, and it's gonna cut him in half. But the villain leaves, and you know, Bond manages to get free, of course.
What's the name of the girl? The Bond girl?
Pussy.
Yeah.
Pussy galore.
Yeah, Pussy galore.
I must be dreaming.
That's right. You want to talk about old movies that have things? Bond straight up rapes Pussy galore. You're like, oh my gosh.
He's like, come here.
So that part was...
You know you want it, pussy.
Yeah. I was like, oh gosh.
Throws her in the hay.
Yep.
They literally have her roll in the hay.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Goldfinger, his big plot is he's going to rob Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Steal all the gold from Fort Knox. And he has the best henchman in all of James Bond history, Odd Job.
Yeah.
A dude that throws his hat.
Yeah. Lined with blades or something.
Yeah, he's got like a razor sharp hat.
That was fun because I didn't know where Odd Job was from, so then I was like, I was like, it's Odd Job.
So the Austin Powers, now you get the reference. Random task. Who throws a shoe? Seriously.
Random task. I never put that together.
Yeah. So this movie like establishes everything that later became parodied in like Austin Powers and Our Man Flint and all those other whatever the name of the God damn it, the Peter Sellers movie, the James Bond movie he was in, and all that stuff. So it kind of sets the template for all that stuff, and that's why I love it so much, because it's got the car chase, you know, it's got the sexy ladies, with the crazy name. It's got the sexy lady pilots.
Yeah, that's right. The pilots.
It's got the huge caper at the end where they're trying to rob the most impenetrable, bank in all the world, and it's just perfect.
I was going to ask you, like, why did this one stick out as your favorite over all the others? And so
that's
I think
why.
you've kind of,
Okay, so before we get to what you thought of the movie,
Yep.
I need you to rank your Bonds.
Oh gosh.
So we got Sean Connery, got George Lazenby, we've got
the problem is I haven't seen any with George Lazenby.
he was only in one.
Okay, I haven't seen Timothy Dalton.
We got Roger Moore.
I don't think I've seen any Roger Moore ones.
Okay.
I think I've only seen like
Connery and
Goldfinger and Dr. No.
Yeah.
And then the Connery or the
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan ones.
Yeah.
And then all the Daniel Craig
Daniel
ones.
Craig. Okay, so we got Connery, Brosnan, Daniel Craig.
I think Connery's got to be number one.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go with Daniel Craig second.
Yeah.
And then Brosnan.
That's pretty good. I think I would put them in that order as. I might put Roger Moore before Pierce Brosnan, though. Even though Roger Moore got super old toward the end, he was just like lumbering around, and him making out with these girls that were like 50 years younger than him is creepy. But he was still like, he was my first Bond. Like the first Bond I ever.
Oh really? Okay.
I ever saw was Octopussy.
Nice.
In the theater with my parents.
Nice. I do really want to. I do really want to watch them all.
I've got the box sets, man.
Well, I think they always like bounce around between streaming services.
Yeah, for sure.
But eventually, I see the Apple like whole digital Bond collection on sale at some point.
I think so. Amazon just bought MGM.
Oh, so they're probably going to be on Prime.
Yeah,
forever.
and I think they already are on Prime actually. But anyway, you should watch them from start to finish because it's so fun.
Yeah.
And some of them are legit bad. Like Moonraker is just god awful.
That's Roger Moore, right?
Yeah, and The Man with the Golden Gun, also with Roger Moore,
Oh, yeah.
not very good. And okay, Live and Let Die, also not my favorite, also Roger Moore. But anyway, my least favorite, I already said, was what's his nuts, Timothy Dalton. But I did like George Lazenby a lot. He was just in the one movie.
I wonder why I only did one.
I think after it he was like, fuck this. Yeah,
Wow.
He was just like, I'm out. I thought he was great. He had big ears, like big weird like elephant Dumbo ears. But I thought he was great. And that movie is like really good actually. It's super long, but it's really good and it's kind of dark. So I would put him ahead of Timothy Dalton and maybe even Roger Moore. I don't even know. But anyway, nevertheless, now the movie itself.
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Outside of the rape scene, I just think Bond movies are fun.
Yeah.
Like, we've had this conversation before, but I think Bond as a character is kind of a problematic character.
Oh, for sure. Especially 60s Bond.
Yeah, like
and 70s Bond. Maybe a little bit of 80s Bond.
And just like it's always this older guy with the younger women.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's like really sexually aggressive.
Yeah.
And so I was telling Jet, my wife and I have had long conversations about Bond of like, why do I like Bond? Like, it's like, I don't know, something about it. Like this guy's a spy and he's all suave and he goes in and there's always like like a little bit of a mystery to what's going on. You're trying to figure it all out. And like, but it's a formula at the same time, so you're used to it, and I kind of like that. So
yeah, I hear you, man. There's just something weird about it, and even as a kid, I thought like some of those scenes with him and the women were weird. I was like, man, that's fucking weird.
It's just kind of interjected. It's like, oh yeah.
But after a while, you're like, well, that's the character, that's the story,
Bond. Yeah.
But just him just beating people's asses, and plus, he's oftentimes he's getting the shit kicked out of him. Like in many of the movies, he's getting his ass beat.
Every movie, he's getting trapped and
he's making mistakes left and right.
Nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think they're wonderful movies. Even the bad ones, I'll still sit down and watch. I'll watch Moonraker, even though I'll, hate half of it because it's just so terrible. But
that kind of makes it fun too.
Yeah, exactly. It's those Roger Moore ones where it's like they bring back the Dukes of Hazzard looking sheriff guy in like 2 movies because they're like, well, people like the Dukes of Hazzard. Let's bring this guy back and have a car chase.
No.
But yeah, even those, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll watch this too. Some of those Pierce Brosnan ones get a little bad too. Like Die Another Day isn't very good.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, all right. I think we did it, Dave.
I think so too.
Take us out.
Come on, Dave. Bond, there's lots of movies. Come on, Dave. I'm going to watch them all. Come on, Dave.